All right, you guys. So we got to circle this unholy block of all of this church mess when it comes to the pastor, Elijah McDavid, and how his wife put all of the business out there about his cheating, her pregnancy, how she handled the abandonment. And now the girlfriend has spoken out, explaining why she felt deeply slighted and, not just by him, but by the situation itself. We got to talk about what she said, what I feel like it reveals, and why this story it hits so many nerves. What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here and being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this holy mess. All right, you guys. So the woman that the good pastor was committing adultery with, she came out here to let you all know, listen, I'm not just some random fling. We were in a relationship. Okay? I'm not a random. And so by her account, she had been with him for a long time. Years of emotional investment, time, support, and belief in what she thought their future would be. Even if it was on her timing and not on his, it's like, whoa. Now, after being with another chick for a few months, you wind up marrying her? Let's get into what she had to say because I have a lot of thoughts about this situation. Now, obviously, this video that's posted, it is of her, but this is not the video that she posted because I'm quite sure she did not title her video Pastor Elijah McDavid's side piece speaks. I'm quite sure she's not calling herself the side piece. But anyway, let's get into this video.
Saddened and disheartened to have to make a video like this. I was going to allow it to pan itself out with the people that were involved, but the moment that my name came into it and screenshots are being posted with my name in it, I felt like I have to say something. I am not mistress. I am not someone that is maintaining an inappropriate relationship with your husband or anybody for that matter. I am not somebody who wants to intervene or get in the middle of your relationship. What you should know is that this person and I dated for approximately 3 years. We started dating in June of 2021, and I also loved and cared about him. I also experienced all of the lavish trips and Michelin star restaurants, and truly feeling like somebody loved and cared about me and truly felt like I could trust him. He and I maintained a relationship for about 3 years, and we lived together and everything. It was in the spring of 2024 that I found out some devastating news that my trust was broken and that I was humiliated. At that point, like you, I also tried to see if we could figure things out and maintain the relationship. That's not necessarily something that I would recommend to anybody today, but that is my truth. We decided ultimately in about May of 2024 that we were no longer going to attempt to work on our relationship and that we would cut things off. From that point, he and I did not maintain contact the same way that we had before. We really did take a lot of space from each other. And later on that year, he started to reach back out and ask if I wanted to go to dinner or brunch, etc., and would invite myself and my friends out. During these dinners and brunches, he would offer up that he is single, that he is by himself, that if he is going on these trips, he's going by himself, he's going on his sabbatical, and he's going by himself as a single man.
Let me pause for a moment because what she's saying so far, I mean, it just sounds like this dude is just an ain't-ish nigga. And I'm going to just say it how I feel it. A lot of these people who proclaim to be pastors and they have these churches and they have these flocks of people that are under them, it's just a job. This is not something that is a passion project or even they were really called. Because you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I was called by God." And it might be true. You may have been called, but I think the Bible says many are called, but few are chosen, because there's a lot of churches out here. It's so many of them. And quite frankly, I feel like more than there needs to be, because a lot of them, they don't serve the communities that they're in. It's there for their own service and for the people who are coming to it to serve the church. They claim it's to serve God, but really God is not involved in this stuff. God, I don't believe God has a lot to do with a lot of these places that call themselves houses of God. Okay? But I'm saying all of that to say she's talking about this guy. He just sounds like a regular dude. This does not sound like a pastor to me, but he's trying to use these words like sabbatical and whatever. I think that's a word that they use in these churches when the preacher is going to take like an extended break from the church. They'll call it a sabbatical instead of like a regular person taking a vacation. Like everything just has to be so freaking extra. But I digress. He's reaching out to this chick that he was screwing around with. I'm quite sure he was not being celibate. I'll just put it like that. And it ain't any of our business, but they put all of this information out there. And a lot of times these people, they're preaching these things and they say this is the way God wants you to live holy and righteous, and you're not supposed to be doing fornication, or however they label it. They say fornication is when you're having sex when you're not married. Adultery is when you're married to someone but you're having sex with other people while you're married to someone else. So they spend a lot of time harping on things: adultery, fornication, drinking, smoking. Like, you hear a lot of this stuff, especially in these black churches. I'm just going to keep it real. So she's just sounding like she's just talking about a random regular N-word, not a actual pastor of the Lord's church. To me, that's what it sounds like. And I just can't, it's like, wow. I don't know how old she is. I don't know how old he is either. But it's clear that the guy is doing, it's like he's being pulled in two different directions. The job is supposed to be holiness, and then his regular life is being a whore. Just saying.
To my surprise, he asked me to dinner in spring of 2025 of this year and let me know that he was planning to propose to someone. And I'll be honest and let you know that I absolutely crashed out in that moment, because I felt like even though we weren't together, we had built a friendship over the last few months to where we could be honest with each other.
I got something to say about that part right there, because if the dude called you, asked you to come out to eat, and then he shared this information with you at that time to say that he was going to be marrying someone else, how was he not being honest? So my assumption is she and he were probably still doing the do up until the time he told her that he had intentions on marrying another woman that he had just started seeing. So, for me, what I get from that is this. Like, I spent all this time with you. I put in all these years. I invested my time, my energy, my coochie, my whatever else. And then now you're going to be marrying another chick that you've only been with for a short period of time. She was feeling slighted because she felt like she invested more in him than this new person that just started coming around, and now he's going to be marrying her. That's what I picked up from it. You guys can let me know what you think, but let's continue.
I was frustrated because I felt like I didn't have a choice and that I didn't get an option of being able to walk away knowing that he was in a relationship with someone. I literally found out that you existed on that day. And when I checked in with other people, they let me know that they had been seeing your videos for a while and just thought that I knew. And that's why no one had told me. I talked to my mentor and he let me know that he was not about to propose, that he actually had already proposed to you before he said that to me. And I confronted him again and asked him why he had lied to me. I asked him what the reason was for not telling me that you were in a relationship this entire time. And he said to me that he didn't want to lose his best friend. I also that same day asked him if you knew about me and asked if he had talked to you about hour passed, and he told me he didn't think that that was necessary. I was really frustrated, and I expressed that to him that day, that I didn't think that it was fair for anybody to walk into a scenario as delicate as this one, considering the context, that anybody should walk into this not knowing what's going on, especially when there are plenty of other people in the congregation that know. From that point, I decided that I did not want to maintain even a platonic friendship relationship with him, and that my trust had been violated.
So you caught her right there, right? So I decided I didn't want to maintain even a platonic relationship. So that just goes to show that they did continue to have a sexual relationship. And once he decided to let her know, look, um, I'm going to be marrying this woman, my public image, I'm a single man in the Lord's church, and they're kind of pushing me into something. So I just kind of feel like it's necessary. And this is a person that I intend on doing that with. But I still want you and I to be I'm gonna say he wanted to be friends with benefits, but he was, probably just saying at that time, I still want to be friends. And she decided we can't be friends. Like Deborah Cox song. We can't be friends. You are gonna be with somebody else. There's no way that I could just see myself not being able to still have sex with you when you're gonna be married to somebody else, especially after all the years I put in with you, and now you're gonna be with somebody else and married to them. Nah, dog, it's a no for me.
Again at this point. And so I stopped communication with him, eventually blocked him on my phone, blocked him on social media, etc. It was October 25th of this year, which is his birthday, that I received a call that was not his personal number and not his social media, reaching out to me to let me know that he had been in what you would call an altercation, that ultimately left him hit by a car. Again, I'll be honest and say that I thought in that moment, frustratedly, like, this is not my problem. I should not have to show up for somebody that has broken my trust on multiple occasions. But convicted, I felt like the right thing to do was to show up for somebody that you care about.
But why is he calling you to show up for him? Like, okay, whatever.
And so, no, I wasn't showing up for him as a friend. I wasn't showing up for him as somebody that was looking for anything for him, not somebody that is looking to rekindle a relationship with him. I was showing up for him as somebody who had just gotten news that he was in the hospital and had been in a car accident. And I want to be clear, he and I have maintained a strictly platonic relationship since the spring of 2024. And so while I understand that there is extreme hurt, there is extreme frustration, there was extreme disrespect that has happened throughout this situation, while I understand that this is extremely humiliating and I would not wish this situation on anybody, I also will say that is not my character to maintain a relationship with someone that is in a relationship, or especially someone that is married. And so I truly hope that in all of this, that you all get what is owed to you, what is due to you. I pray that this is all worked out. However, I should not be the target for this anger. I truly do believe that it is misdirected. And to all of my friends, turned family, my community that have reached out throughout the last day and a half of everything that has been going on, for people that know the truth and know my story and know my character, that have shown up for me and supported me. Thank you for showing up for me. I really do appreciate that. And I hope that this all gets worked out, but I am not anyone's mistress.
All right, guys. So listen, I'm not going to completely beat the woman over the head. First of all, obviously, I don't have a pit bull in the fight, so it ain't any of my personal concern, but I'm just talking about it because it's on the public forums. The man ultimately has to take accountability and responsibility for everything when it comes to this situation. If he was, beholden between two different situations, and maybe it could have been 3 or 4, 5 different situations when it comes to different chicks that he was messing around with. I don't know. She claims that she had only maintained a platonic relationship with him since 2024. I don't know. I don't even really care. But the thing about it is, he's married, and I still feel how I feel, that she was feeling slighted, not just because she didn't feel that he was just being, upfront and honest with her to let him know that he was seeing someone else. Why would she care if she was only a platonic friend? I mean, let's be honest. If she was, like she said, just a platonic friend of his, and they were not doing the do and banging the bang and doing the up and down and the in and out, then why would she feel like at that point in time, once he told her that he was marrying someone else, that she would feel the need to say, well, look, I can't even be, platonic friends with you anymore. So that's what I'm saying. It just, to me, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But who really knows? All we can do is hear what they say and decide what we believe. And to me, I still believe that the man has ultimately got some issues. And another thing too that I want to touch on, and I'm going to try to maybe play that video. These pastors, okay? Let me find that video real quick, and I'm going to play it, because when he made the announcement about how he had made the decision for his safety and for his life to do what he needed to do and file for divorce because he didn't feel safe. I don't know if the wife hit him, while she was in the car or not, but I don't believe that this woman did something that wasn't like a reaction to something that he did. I ain't saying that it's right if she did hit him with the car, but it just reminds me of the Tiger Woods situation. Remember when Tiger Woods' wife beat him down with the she ran up on him, beat him down with the golf club or the car or something like that. Either way, he was down bad. It was in response to her finding out that he had been cheating on her with all of these women. Again, an emotional reaction. That's why you hear, when it comes to a lot of these crimes that are committed, and you hear about a crime of passion, is because somebody was so worked up in their emotions that it caused them to do something that they normally would not have done. So I'm not going to sit here and make the wife out to be some man beater and man eater, where he was only married to her for a few months and then leaves her while she's pregnant. I'm sorry. I believe that he was doing some dirty dog things, and now he's still trying to hold up a standard and hold his church together because it's his job and it's his livelihood. All right, let's play this video clip because I have something to say about this.
Many reasons to give God praise. So many doors he's opened, so many ways he's made. He didn't have to let us live, but I'm glad to be in the service one more time. Are you grateful for life, health, and strength today? I know I am, and we praise God for it. Listen, a few words of remarks before we move into our time of worship through giving. I want to say that I, like any other person with a biblical name, I can't help but to resonate with the story of the personality that I'm named for. I have a gravitational pull that keeps on drawing me back to the story of the prophet Elijah. And I'm drawn, Deacon Corey, not just to the high moments of success that he experiences, but I am drawn sometimes to the low moment that Elijah experienced in 1 Kings chapter 19. If you've been at fellowship a little while, if you read your Bible, you know I've taught the story. Elijah just had an awesome victory in chapter 18, defeating 450 prophets of Baal. And then as you turn the page, you find Elijah running for his life, fearful, afraid, anxious about what's coming next. He even questions the value and the significance of his own future. I would say that similar to the biblical Elijah, many of us today are wrestling with some heavy emotions. For some in our church, we experienced a whole lot this week, and it's left our community wondering and questioning, what does the future look like? We accomplished a whole lot together as a church family in chapter 18. We had some beautifully victorious seasons that we ought to be proud of in chapter 18.
Notice this woman back here. She is not she is not feeling this. But let's continue.
But right now it's a chapter 19 moment, and a lot of people are hurting. And if I can be honest, your pastor is hurting. May not have experienced all the dark tears of depression that the biblical Elijah wrestled with, but I can be honest and say I've cried a whole lot these last 3 months. And there have been some moments where I asked God, why?
And God is like, why are you putting me in it? I ain't even said nothing. like that Nene, like that Nene gif.
And so, with your gracious understanding, I would like to take some time to do what the biblical Elijah did, to go away to the mountaintop for a few days and allow the Spirit of our merciful God to replenish me, to recalibrate me, and restore me. I want to be better before we resume the work of prophetic ministry.
Look at her reaction back here, because it's bullcrap. In all of this pastor talk, I need to go up to the mountaintop and just allow the Lord to replenish me and refresh me. Boy, go lay down. Go lay down, because this is foolishness, okay?
Believe that on the other side of a refueling moment, we can have more chapter 18 victories ahead of us. And for those who might be uncertain about if there's victory ahead of us, I am confident in this, that even when the preacher, even when the members, even when a leader is going through it, even when we are broken and hurting, God knows how to touch us and minister to us and whisper to us in the stillness of the night, just as he did for the biblical Elijah, he can do for any of us. I'm confident in that. And so, beloved, as I prepare for a short time away, allow me to encourage you to never allow anything to interrupt the life of our church's worship.
And you know what that means, guys? This is key, okay? As he is preparing these people for his absence, for some foolishness that he was involved in, because he was the main one that came up there, presented this woman and her child to the church to say that he is entering an engagement and will be getting married, and God said this and God said that, right? And now you're turning around and saying, I'm getting up out of this. So you're pretty much making God out to be a liar, or yourself, and you don't want to admit that you're a liar. So you want to put it on God, and you're like asking God, why me? Why am I going through this? And allow me to take a break. But don't allow anything to stop your worship. Do you know what that is key for? Don't stop coming to church and giving money. Because let me tell you, in especially this Black church, they have transformed the word worship to mean giving, period. So a lot of times now they won't even say it's offering time. They've transformed it into, okay, we're going to enter a time of worship in the form of giving. This is key. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about don't allow anybody to get you discouraged or steal your joy, or don't allow anybody to get you in a place of feeling hopeless or depressed. He's not trying to encourage them personally. He's trying to cover his church to prevent them from leaving, and hopefully they will continue to give their money, because that is what he is calling worship. That's what he's talking about.
Don't allow anything to interrupt the life of our church's worship.
Don't allow anything to interrupt the time of our church's worship. That's what he's talking about, guys. He's talking about the money. He's talking about the offerings. He's talking about giving. He's not talking about people just coming to the church to sing, to give praises to God, to pray, to fellowship with one another. He ain't talking about that. He's talking about that money. He's talking about them tithes. He's talking about them offerings. That is the key. That is what he's talking about.
Heard a whole lot on the internet this week, but I'm not going to allow that to interrupt my prayer life. And I would advise you that you shouldn't allow it to interrupt yours either. We've had some moments of victory. Right now, walking through a valley of defeat. But I've taught you before, fellowship, that whether in victory or in defeat, our task remains the same. We shall lift our eyes beyond the hills, because we know where our help comes from. And we're confident in that sacred and holy help. As I prepare to take this brief leave of absence, I do also today want to offer a wholehearted apology to this church family. You all have had to hear some hard things this week. And while what you've heard is misleading, I recognize that what you've heard still causes pain. It tarnishes our reputation as a church. It makes some question the spiritual well-being of our institution. Perhaps worst of all, it evokes memories of church hurt and trauma that all too many of us have had to live through time and time again. And so from the bottom of my heart, I'm deeply sorry that because none of you should have had to experience hurt like this on the week of Christmas.
Okay, what does Christmas have to do with it? Child, let me stop. I'm not even gonna play anymore. I'm not even gonna play any more of this video, guys. But you hear the organ player, piano player, whatever it is that the person is playing in the background. Everything is to evoke the emotions of the people to get them to feel a certain type of way. He's speaking a certain type of way, the music is playing a certain type of way. It's the games that they play in these churches. And so from the girlfriend's perspective, I am thinking she's feeling like I put in these years, I carried a lot of emotional weight and I believed in him before all of this stuff, before him becoming a husband. And if it was going to be him becoming a husband, I thought I would be the wife. And now another woman is going to benefit from all the time, energy, and commitment that I invested. Really? So I'm not saying that that makes her right. And it doesn't make her wrong either. It just makes her a human being. And the deeper issue here, it's not the competition between the woman, it's this man in a position of alleged spiritual authority, manipulating timelines, emotions, and loyalty while presenting this holy image to the public. And then there's the wife who's been exposed to the betrayal. Now she's pregnant and abandoned, left to deal with the public fallout while he stays silent mostly about that, you know? So this is why people question the accountability in these churches' leaderships and how pastors handle relationships behind closed door and what they present in the public, and why women are often left carrying the emotional baggage. So I want to know what you guys think about this whole crazy situation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.